Hello, and welcome to the third part of the Bitsy Game Maker training series. In this video, we're going to learn about the color tool, as well as look at a resource to help find a color palette you enjoy. So let's begin. Starting from our last lesson, I'm in the Bitsy game editor. And what I want to do first is I'm going to drag my colors window so it's beside my rooms window. That way, as we're making changes to our color palette, we can see how things are looking and if we want to make any changes later on. So in the colors window, we can notice this is a color palette named Blueprint. We have a dark blue for the background color, a lighter blue for the tile color, and white for the sprite color. So with the background color selected, and you can click on it just to make sure that it's selected, while I click and drag in the background color, we could see it's changing in the room window. So you could definitely make changes this way, and just be sure to click on each tab so then you're able to change the color and see it update in the room window. And same thing with the sprite color. I can go ahead and click on that and make changes as well, and I could see it being updated in my room window. But what if we want to get a little more creative and maybe make things a little easier on ourselves too? Well, I'm going to show you a really great resource that'll generate a color palette for you. I have this tab open, and if you go ahead and go to the search tab of your choice and type in colors with 2 O's, you'll want to choose the first choice that pops in your browser, which is colors, the super fast color scheme generator. Once you click on that tab, you'll see that this page pops up for you. We're going to go ahead and click on Start the Generator. We're just going to close this pop-up window, and we can see that we have these colors shown up for us. But we know if we go back into our Bitsy Game Maker, we could only have 3 colors at a time in our game. So if I go back to the colors generator, if we hover over, we can see this X that we can remove the color. So I'm going to go ahead and remove 2 of those colors so we just have 3 colors for us. And using the space bar on your keyboard, if I go ahead and click on it, we can now change the colors that are being generated. So you can go ahead and see what colors you like. And for example, if I really like this honey yellow color, but I want to see maybe what other colors I can get from this generator, you can use this little lock button to lock that color. And then when I press the space bar again, you can see I'm keeping this color, but the other 2 colors are being updated. So I'm going to unlock this and see what other colors I can get by clicking the space bar. I think this looks really fun. So what we can do now is to get these colors into our Bitsy game, we can click on this hex code. And we can see when we hover over it, it says select color. So with this code selected, click Control-C on your keyboard to copy it, and then going back into the Bitsy Game Maker editor, I can choose to say put this on my background color. So with my background color selected, we can see there is also a hex code at the bottom here. If I go ahead and delete that and then press Control V on my keyboard, we can see now that color has updated for the background color. I could do the same thing here. Control C, go back to my Bitsy Game Maker, add that to my sprite color, delete the hex code, Control V, and again it's being updated in my viewport. And I'll do this as well for my tiles, so I'm going to click on here, Control C, and update my tile color. And now we can see my color palette has been updated in the room window. And if I want to test this to see what it looks like, I could go ahead and press play, use my arrow keys, and see how it's looking in my game. I think this is really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and just press stop for now. So I really encourage you to experiment and see what color palette works for you. In future videos, when we start making more rooms, which are going to be more areas in our game, I'm going to show you how we can make a different color palette for that area. So what we can do is this plus button at the top. We can click on that, and we see now we have palette 1 created, where we can make a new color palette. So if, for example, if I want to use this color palette in this room, at the bottom of my room window, we can see there's colors and the name of the palette that's being used. If we click here, we can see we could choose palette 1 now. If I click on palette 1, it updates to the new color palette that we have created in our colors window. I'm just going to go ahead and change that back to the blueprint. So that covers everything for the colors window. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I can't wait to see what kind of color palettes you create. In the next lesson, we're going to go over the dialog window and how to add text effects. And I'll see you in the next lesson.